Hey everyone, it's Justine the Twilight Stamper, and welcome back to 3 cards, 1 stamp with Simon Says Stamp Big Birthday Bash stamp set. Today we're going to create this really cute card using the balloons somewhat as a background stamp. So I'm starting off with a piece by a 4 by 5 1/4 inch Nina Solar White cardstock. That's the 80-pound cardstock, and I'm using mint and ink, doll pink, and orange peel from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm using the Big Birthday Bash stamp, and I'm using the balloon. So I'm just going and I'm randomly stamping the balloons all over the bottom of the cardstock here. I'm not doing any sort of rhyme or reason as to how I'm doing it, but I always make sure that I stamp somewhat off the page to make it look a little bit more realistic and to make it look like there's an actual border around the card. So after I'm done doing that, I'm cleaning off my stamp. I use baby wipes for the most part. And I know that going from orange peel to mint is never going to go over well, as you can see by my ink pad getting a little bit dark there as I stamp it in. So I stamped it off to the side on some scrap piece of paper before I decided to stamp it on my card. This kind of gave me some extra security that I was going to get the true mint color. And when I was ready, I decided to stamp that then onto my cardstock and really ink it up well. So I just went in the middle here and I just continued to stamp along. Alright, so I just continued along here stamping in mint and then in the doll pink color. The doll pink, it wasn't necessary for me to stamp and try to do that on the scrap piece of paper to get the color off. It's a pretty dominant color, so I never had any issues. I finished it off by stamping an orange balloon. Next up, I wanted to color these pearls. As you can see, I colored some of them already. I used YR7, BG15, and RB17 to color these, and these are pretty much an exact match to the colors we used on the balloons. So that's a really great trick to use. Before putting them on my card, I wanted to stamp my sentiment because I thought if I put my stamp press down and they hit those pearls, then my stamp's not going to stamp very well. So using black ink, I'm stamping the Make-A-Wish from the same stamp set, the Big Birthday Bash, and I stamped that in the middle of the card on top of the balloon pattern. I pushed down to get even coverage. And this is a newer stamp, so I got a couple of, you can see it's not exactly a super crisp sentiment, but that's okay. I like it just the way it is, and I can always go back in later with a marker and fill in those areas, which I ended up doing at the end. I can't remember if I put that on camera or not though. So I'm just putting the pearls onto the card that I had colored earlier now that they're dry, and you can just put them in a random pattern in the white spaces. I'm just using my craft knife to help me put them onto the card, and again, just filling in those white spaces there and making sure nothing looks too funny. And I used a couple of different sizes of the pearls as well to give it some texture. I really like the way it turned out. The next step I did was take my Wink of Stella clear sparkle pen, and I went along and I brushed the sides of the balloon to make them sparkly. I know you can't really see the sparkle here, but I'm just going along and then I'll tilt it up towards the light to show you exactly what it looks like. So I just went along each side there, as you can see. Now when I hold it up to the light, you should be able to see how it sparkles there in the light. It just adds another little extra feature to the card. Next, I had to create the card base. So I took a piece of doll pink cardstock that measured 11 by 4 1/4. I scored it at 5.5 inches and folded it to make a top folding card, like I do the majority of my cards. And then I just stuck the Make-A-Wish thing that we just stamped and into the middle there. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and day 2 of 3 cards, 1 stamp. See you on Friday for the last card. Thanks so much for watching.